Business Bites. Go further and grow stronger with InvestNI. Join local businesses generating billions exporting to Europe. Check your export readiness with InvestNI's free online export health check. Business Bites with InvestNI.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Business Bites. I'm Caroline Fleck and this is where we delve in to business in Northern Ireland and get some valued insights. And I'm sure we're going to get that from our guest this week. He is the chairman of ICC Belfast, Ulster and Waterfront Hall. It is Steve Daniels. Welcome to Business Bites, Steve.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you for the invitation.
Now, let's talk a little bit about you. You've been here for a long time, but you took up the post of chairman in 2022, I believe.
That's correct. Yeah, I've been here with my family for nearly 27 years now. As you can tell from the accent, it's a London accent, and that's why even after 27 years, I'm still regarded as a blow-in, as they call me. But delighted to be here. We made this our home 27 years ago. My daughter married a guy from Northern Ireland here. She was 13 when she came here, but she married a guy from Northern Ireland in later life. We have 2 grandchildren here who are 12 and 10, so this has become our home. And, I'm really dedicated to try and make Northern Ireland and Belfast, a great place for people to live and work in the future. So this is our home and we're delighted to be here.
So you took over the role as chairman of ICC Belfast at a really crucial time. We were coming out of a pandemic. That must have been a challenge, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. In fairness, at that point, I wasn't the chairman, but I was a non-exec member of the board. Obviously, in 2019, just before the pandemic, the whole of the business was really riding very high. We were achieving our plans. We were hitting and exceeding all of our targets in fairness. And then suddenly in January of 2020, our then chief executive, Catherine Toolan, resigned to go and join and run the Guinness Storehouse down in Dublin. She's done a fantastic job there. And then just a couple of months later, COVID hit in the March, as you refer, and we, being the business we are, was the first business to close and the last business to open. And as a result of that, we stayed closed for an 18-month period, which was very challenging for us, for our staff, for our business, and obviously for our economic future. But we did a lot of work during that period, Caroline, in terms of knowing that we were going to be one of the last business to open. Clearly, there wasn't a lot of guidance taking place from government or anywhere at that time. So we tried to keep our staff very informed of what was going on and the challenges that we had. But during that period, we sort of looked internally to say, look, what operational issues when we open and get the green light can we improve on? How can we improve the entertainment and conferences for our patrons and those people who use our facilities? So we did a lot of work behind the scenes so that when we were given the green light, I'm pleased to say we were able to hit the ground running.
And I mean, the impact, everyone felt that impact of a pandemic, and no more so than the live entertainment sector here in Northern Ireland. Some may still argue that there's still a lot of work to be done to bring it back to what it was. ICC Belfast, of course, leading the way with that. What changes have you made since the pandemic, I suppose, to bring us into 2024?
Well, I guess I say we looked at a lot of processes. We operate 3 businesses. We've got the International Conference Centre that you refer to, which is about attracting international conferences and big institutions to undertake conferences throughout Belfast. We've then got the Waterfront Hall, and then we've got the Ulster Hall. So on the conference side, what we did was we looked at our business very closely. We thought there would be some changes in behaviour and some changes in the way that organisations want to run conferences, Caroline, and sure enough, that was true. A lot of people, when they came back for conferences, whereas normally they might hold a global conference and bring staff from all around the world, they decided that perhaps that wasn't going to be the right way forward post the pandemic. And equally, the behaviour of a lot of staff and a lot of the public weren't necessarily safe to go straight back into a big environment. So they wanted what was called a hybrid event, whereby they wanted to have a certain number that might be at our venue, but then they wanted to be able to broadcast the conference, digitally throughout the rest of their organisations and their offices around the world. So we introduced and invested a lot in technology and in terms of sort of like LED screens to be able to do that in terms of technology. Then in terms of our entertainments that you referred to in both the Waterfront Hall and the Ulster Hall, we spent a lot of time getting ready for opening, making sure that people felt safe, making sure that we were communicating very clearly with them. We spent a lot of time with promoters and artists in terms of, confirming our venues were indeed safe, and talking about the virtues of coming to Belfast. And I guess, as you probably know, what we were really pleased about was literally within days of us being given the green light to open, Snow Patrol approached us and said, we'd like to be able to be one of the first to perform post the pandemic. Can we do that in the Waterfront Hall? They only gave us a few days' notice. And Bob's your uncle, given the Belfast spirit, and all of our staff, we all came together and had a fantastic conference that evening.
I remember it well.
You
well.
do?
Obviously, we talk about business tourism, Steve. Explain what we mean about business tourism.
Well, effectively, obviously, the secret, I guess, is in the name. So business tourism would sort of look at organizations or associations around the world who are looking to hold a conference or some kind of event at an international conference centre somewhere around the world. They choose, let's say in this instance, they choose Belfast against many competitions that there are, and there's a lot of competition out there, but they choose Belfast, they come to us. And business tourism effectively means that when they're coming for an event, that could be up to 5,000 people in one of our venues. They're coming from all over the globe. They might be here for a 3-day event. And during that period, while they're over here, in effect on business, they're obviously utilising our hotels, they're utilising our taxis, they're utilising our restaurants, they're utilising our great food offering. They're certainly going to be utilising our pubs and our bars for the Guinness that we have. So all of that, when you bring all that together, that's what we would call as business tourism. It's effectively all that additional money that they're bringing into the economy, which is supporting the local economy and supporting all of those staff who work in the tourist industry.
And obviously, it has a huge impact on Belfast, I suppose, economically, along with the live event impact that we have here for Northern Ireland. What are the plans then for 2024 for ICC Belfast?
Well, we've got some very ambitious plans. We've just had our 5-year strategy agreed by Belfast City Council, who own Belfast Waterfront Ulster Hall, which is ICC is a part of that. So they've approved our plans. If we look over the 5-year plan, I guess we're obviously going to try to drive more and more conferences. We want to win out against any other city, and we feel that we can. We want to drive more entertainment events that we can in terms of our 2 iconic venues. And over the next 5 years, Caroline, our plan is to generate 125 million of economic impact for the city and for Northern Ireland. And by economic impact, I refer to what I said earlier. Economic impact is not just what they're spending in the conference centre, not just what people are spending in our venues, but then what they go on to spend in the wider economy. So we're looking to drive that as high as we possibly can. And we do feel that Belfast, and I'm always been quoted as saying this, a lot of cities around the world that we're competing with. In Europe, we're competing with a lot of cities, as you know, across the world, we're competing with a lot of cities that are iconic. But we do have that special thing in Belfast that you'll know well, which is sort of like that Belfast crack, that Belfast welcome. And I think what distinguishes us from the competition is just sort of like the spirit, the enthusiasm, the optimism of all the people across Belfast and Northern Ireland that make this a special place to visit.
I think you've done a very good. We've talked about many aspects of impact, from entertainment to conferencing to business tourism. Steve, I think your next, not that we want you to go anywhere, has definitely got to be a tourism advocate for Northern Ireland. We wish you all the best with ICC for 2024 for that 5-year plan. I myself look forward to many a gig there, and we look forward to bringing more businesses into conferencing with you as well from around the world. A very, very much pleasure to have you on Business Bites, Steve Daniels from ICC Belfast, and thank you so much for watching. Catch you next time.
Thank you.
Business Bites. Go further and grow stronger with InvestNI. Join local businesses generating billions, exporting to Europe. Check your export readiness with InvestNI's free online export health check. Business Bites with InvestNI.